What's up, everybody? Jeremiah from Redzone Reptiles back again with the one and only.
Josh with FearlessExotics, and you're watching Dragon Talk. What's going
What's
on?
up?
Back at it again, another Monday night.
Hell yeah, man. It's gonna be a good one too, guys. Gonna be talking about supplements, what greens you should be giving your dragon to get calcium, what calciums you should be using, multivites. We're also gonna touch base on substrates and stuff that gets your bearded dragon impacted. Substrates you should use, shouldn't use, and talk about some of the myths of the ones that they say you shouldn't use that really aren't that bad. And yeah, we'll just see how the night goes. And remember, at the last 10 minutes of the live, we will answer all your guys' questions. So everybody in the live commenting your questions, we'll go back in the last 10 minutes and kind of read through your guys' questions and answer as many as we can.
Cool.
So first, I mean, what multivites or stuff do you use?
So I actually just ran out, and I have some that should have been here today, but where's it at? I think I have an old one. So for the multivitamins, I just do a little bit of the liquid vitamin. It's from Flukers. It looks like this. It's empty, but it looks like this. You can give it little drops directly to each dragon. If you have one dragon, it's easier, or whatever. Or you can put it on their greens. You can, like I said, drip it directly in their mouth. They'll drink it like water. They don't like the way it tastes, but just a little bit. You don't want to overdo it. And then I have just the regular, like the regular calcium. I mean, the regular, like the powder one. That I think it's from the same. I think it's from Flukers as well. I have it mixed in a bigger little container, so I don't have the actual bottle.
So calcium carbonate.
Yeah.
So real quick, I just you said something I want to touch on real quick. Overdoing it is something you don't want to do. So in this case, with supplements and calcium, more is not good. Less is more in this situation. So if you're giving calcium to your dragons, you should be giving it 3 to 5 times a week, and then switching on and off between ones that have added D3 and no D3. You don't want to be constantly using just one with D3 in it and one without D3. You want both of them. It helps them take the UVB from the lights and actually break down the calcium. Because naturally in the wild, bearded dragons, a lot of people ask me this, where do bearded dragons in the wild get calcium? And I'm like, well, they get it the same way that your bearded dragon is, through its food, insects that it eats, and greens. But most bearded dragons in the wild aren't healthy and don't live very long. That's the difference. Is we're trying to supplement our bearded dragons so they live a better life, live longer. There are greens that you can give your dragon that naturally have calcium in them, like your chards, turnip greens, dandelion greens, some stuff like that.
I think collard greens too, right?
Yeah, yeah. Most of your dark greens have calcium in them, just not enough. So you want to supplement it definitely with a calcium carbonate, which is really good. You could also do the liquid. I don't recommend dropping the liquid vitamin or the liquid calcium in their mouth because your dragon will hate that. They'll
Yeah.
mess it all up. But if you drip it on their greens and just kind of let them eat the greens, I don't think they really notice it too much. And it's definitely an easy way to get calcium into your bearded dragon's diet, which is definitely necessary.
For sure. I just drip, especially when I have babies. You don't know exactly how much each baby's eating. So you could have everything dusted, and that one dragon just not get enough. So what I do is, like I said, I drip it in the baby's mouth, probably, I don't know, twice a week maybe, just to give them a little bit. They don't like it, like you said. They kind of freak out, like, what the hell is that? But I just want to make sure that they're getting something, because I only do it twice a week because I don't want to overdo it. If they're getting it because like how I do it is I dust 5 times a week. So I take 2 days off a week. So Monday, Tuesday they get dusted. Wednesday they have a break, and then Saturday they have a break. So then the rest of the days they're dusted, and then I kind of go back and forth with D3 without D3.
And you said you do the multivite though, right? You don't do the liquid vitamin or the liquid calcium.
No, the one that I have is a multivitamin that's a liquid.
Yeah, so that one totally fine to like give them to the mouth. Just if you're giving them calcium, I don't recommend the liquid. Fluker's has a liquid
Oh,
calcium.
liquid calcium. Yeah, yeah,
I
no.
don't recommend giving that to them by their mouth because the problem is I think a lot of people get scared that they're not giving their dragon enough calcium and they overdo it, and that's definitely a problem too that you don't want to do. It's not beneficial at all.
Yeah.
Is there
You can have a calcium deficiency, and you can have I don't know what the term would be for over efficiency. I don't know, but you
well,
could
you would
have.
just overdose your dragon pretty much.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Also, some other stuff that I like to give them is I always talk about it is bee pollen.
yeah,
But you said uh, one thing that's hard to get your babies, you don't know if there's getting enough calcium on them. So what I do with the multivite, instead of actually dropping it on them, I get a little bowl and I pour some of that multivite in the bottom, and I shake the dubia or whatever I'm gonna feed them in that, so that they're all wet with that on it. Then I dust them so that more calcium really sticks to them, and then
yeah.
I kind of feed them that way, just
Like you're
because.
breading them.
Yeah, breading them pretty much, because usually when I am doing that, there's so many babies, like it's pretty time consuming, um, to have to do that every other day, or
Yeah,
even
for
three
sure.
times a week,
Yeah.
would be a pain in the butt for me, to be honest.
No, yeah, it's a pain in the butt for me, but I want to make sure because I've had dragons where I thought they were doing good, and then you put them in a bath and they start looking all around. I'm like, uh-oh. You segregate them for a little bit, just kind of up their calcium, and they're fine. It's just sometimes some of them lack, and they're not as strong as eaters as the other ones. But as long as you catch a calcium deficiency early, most part they're fine as long as you catch it early.
Yeah, one thing I want to touch base on too, I guess it kind of falls in the deficiency part, is a lot of people have dehydrated dragons and they don't understand. Um, your
Yeah,
dragon will also not eat as much or be as energetic or also healthy if you guys aren't making sure that they're hydrated. Someone asked me about a bioactive enclosure, and then I also got asked about having water bowls in the enclosure. So water bowls aren't necessarily a negative thing unless you have an enclosed enclosure. If you have an open top enclosure where the moisture can pretty much just evaporate, it's not detrimental. But if you have one that's enclosed, you're creating a lot of humidity, and the problem is you'll give your dragon an upper respiratory
upper
infection,
respiratory
and you
quick.
don't want that respiratory infection. That humidity is really not good for them. So water bowl, I don't recommend it, but if you're one of those people that are just like so afraid that your dragon's not getting enough water, make sure that there's a lot of ventilation so that you're not causing that humidity, or then you're going to be in some serious problems with
Yeah,
respiratory infections and stuff.
for sure.
Another thing that people were asking is like when they're stressing their dragon out in too small of an enclosure or something like that, with a bioactive thing. If you're gonna do a bioactive enclosure, it literally has to be a huge enclosure. I personally haven't done anything that's bioactive, but I did look up and do some research, and from what it looks like is you need a lot of layers and you need a long cage so that they have
Yeah,
proper
like
space to move in and out, and an open top enclosure because you got to spray it down a lot to keep the ground moist and everything, but you don't want your dragon getting sick either, so you want an open top. You want a lot of ventilation and bioactive if you're going to do bioactive,
yeah.
which it honestly seemed like more of a hassle than anything because you have to do so much to give it that enrichment that you could really do that with some of the other substrates that we're going to talk about.
No, yeah, for sure. And bioactives are cool, especially if you have one dragon. I mean, people ask me, do you recommend it? As long as you're doing it the right way, I don't see anything wrong with it. Especially if you have the proper temperatures, then yeah, I mean, go for it. But like you said, if you're not maintaining your bioactive and you don't have your springtails, you don't have your isopods, you don't have your layers, you're pretty much just throwing your dragon on dirt. Like that's pretty much what it boils down to. You either throw them on dirt or you throw them on bioactive. Like there's a big difference. So I reckon people, if you're gonna go for it, spend the money and do it right. Don't kind of, I'm gonna throw some dirt and leaves and just throw a couple of bugs in there. Like that's not how it works. And you can, like you said, you can cause up respiratory infections. You can, you know, mess with the dragons, especially being in a small enclosure. You can mess with them because you also have all the different kind of fumes from the different dirt and the different leaves you use and different barks you use. So a lot that goes into it. So I definitely recommend doing your research for bioactive. What's going on, Cool Dragons?
Yeah, and then that goes kind of into size. So for the most part, I think, in my personal opinion, a 3 by 18 by 18 is a perfect size for an adult as long as you are
For bio
properly.
or for general?
No, just in general. Because
Uh,
I don't use any substrate.
no, yeah, me.
Most people know that, but anything bigger than that is good for your bearded dragon as an adult. Most people are hitting me up like, "Hey, do I need this? 6 by 2 by 2?" I'm like, "That's like a tegu's cage. That's a 4 foot
Yeah,
monitor cage." Um,
for sure.
Bearded dragons. Yeah. I mean, you're definitely doing it, but if you have a lot, if you're keeping a lot like me, or because I guess I'm bringing this up because people ask me why I don't get bigger enclosures for my bearded dragons. Um, but my bearded dragons get handled every day. They're getting taken out of the cage. Um, some
Getting
of them are
bad.
getting scrubbed down. We're they're constantly getting moved. They get tons of enrichment, and the only reason I can't put like rocks and stuff inside the enclosure is because I don't have time to clean all that, and I want to keep my dragons clean and healthy. So the
Yeah,
best way is to not give them anything like that.
for
But
sure.
trust me, they all get handled plenty. I let them run around the room every once in a while, all the girls at least together. Um, it gets pretty crazy, but they do get enrichment that way.
For sure.
Is there a I'm trying to think if there's any other vitamins that I use, but I really don't. It boils down pretty much to just calcium with D3, calcium without D3, and then I add the bee pollen. Um, I
Yeah.
do sometimes use that multivite from Flukers when I do see a dragon. Uh, Usually I only use that when I'm like getting a dragon's weight up to breed her, or babies. Anything that's like juvenile or in between, I kind of just gut loaded insects are doing the
Yeah.
thing for me.
Yeah.
That's another way. If you're raising your own insects, you can definitely add like calciums and stuff to their food so that they're eating it and they're gut loaded. But the only thing is they're deficient in vitamins. They're vitamin deficient. Most insects that you're going to be feeding um,
Especially
aren't.
crickets.
Yeah, especially crickets, don't have a lot of vitamins in them. They have a lot of nutrition for them to like grow and stuff, but
If they're
as
gut loaded.
far
Yeah.
in like proteins and stuff, but they don't actually have a lot of vitamins. So that's why you want to make sure everything's well dusted when you're feeding. And like we said, don't do too much. Um, you don't want to overdoing it. Overdoing it is just as bad as not doing it at all.
For sure.
So we'll kind of go into some substrates. What do you what's your opinion on substrates?
So I keep things super basic. If anybody has met me in person, bought a dragon, I say simple is everything. Especially when you have a lot of dragons, it's hard to you get off work and you have to clean, you know, 15 tubs. It's, you know, especially if you have sand and dirt and all that stuff. That stuff starts to stink. For at least in my case, that's why I hate. Not that I hate. That's why I dislike sands and dirts and stuff like that, because after a while it has like that musty smell to it, and when you have a room like a reptile room, you don't want to walk in there and then smell like a wet towel. So I use reptile carpet or no substrate at all. I have used, you froze, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, you froze. um I have used like ceramic tiles in the past. Those work really good too. So I'm a big fan of I'm a big fan of reptile carpet, no substrate or ceramic tiles. That's my 2 cents on substrates that I like.
Okay. Yeah, for most people that follow me and know what I do, it's unprinted newspaper. Um,
Or that paper towels.
so I do want to touch on substrates that you can use. The
Yeah.
only reason I don't use is, like you said, I have so many in my job. I'm working constantly. I'm trying to keep the dragons clean. One thing with sand and other stuff like that is it grows bacteria if you're not cleaning it fast enough and thoroughly. I'm honest with myself. I can't go and thoroughly clean 16 bearded dragons enclosures with dirt and
Little sifter.
sand and
Yeah.
all this stuff go through it. Yeah, sifting it and then washing the sand every at least once a month to try to clean. Yeah, that's just not. It's not. I'm realistic. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Can you use sand? Yes. Do I recommend sand? Not really. The only thing I recommend sand for is your bearded dragon laying eggs in. There's a lot of people that say sand can cause impactions, and most of the time I see that it's with babies, but you can use sand with adults, and usually if you have a feeding dish that you're feeding them in, the sand is fine. They're not going to be eating the sand as long as they're eating all the bugs out of the dish, because most of the problem is when the bugs and stuff are in the dish or are not in a dish and they're in the sand, and your babies are eating that or your dragons are eating that, and then they're getting sand in their stomach, which they don't digest. um, so I don't recommend sand. And if you are gonna do something that you want to do, like a realistic Australian looking,
Yeah.
thing, I recommend clay. The red clay or excavators clay is really good. It looks great, but
Not dusty.
again, it's compacted so that they're not actually eating it with their food. It's compacted, it looks nice, it's solid, so it's like a rock. Loose stuff, you don't see a lot of loose sand in Australia anyway, so it's not like that's where their natural habitat has loose sand. It's really not. It's a lot of compacted
Yeah.
dirt and sand out there. So sand, don't really recommend. Dirt is all right as long as you're keeping an eye on it. Like I said, if you're gonna do the whole bioactive, you definitely need dirt in there. So keeping everything
Absolutely.
moist and clean with the isopods and springtails, and you could even do super worms and mealworms and stuff in there.
That's what mealworm.
So as long as you have everything going, working lively like that, I don't see anything wrong with it. But for the most part, um, if you have one bearded dragon, I think your best bet is to do the carpet. You know what I mean? Um, you could either do outdoor carpet, you could do, yeah, like that, the green carpet. They even
This
make
was
like
clean too.
the desert ones, the ones that look like desert. They're super easy. You pull them out, throw them all in the washer. What I did is I went to Home Depot. I bought a huge
Roll.
roll of it, cut them all out. That way I had extras. I'd pull them all out, put new ones in, and then I'd throw the old ones in the washer or the dirty ones in the washer. So I did that for the longest time.
Yeah.
Um,
Or boat carpet too. I've seen people use.
So that I think is the best way, just because
Cheap.
um, you can keep them clean, you can keep them healthy. It's easy to wash, it's reusable. Dirt, not necessarily, unless you're really on top of it. Rubber mats are cool too. Some people complain that the bearded dragon doesn't get traction or they can't run around enough. My bearded dragons do plenty of running around in their cages. They're totally fine. I don't see anyone getting mad. Plus, they run around my room, and my room is concrete on the floor, and they get around just fine. So I don't see any problems with it. I think solid substrate is the best substrate. I've seen some people ask me about the Eco Earth or I don't know, whatever you call it, the cocoa, the
Cocoa
really
fiber.
thin. Yeah. So cocoa
That's the
fiber, I definitely don't recommend that one. That's so loose and just one, it's made for like humid
small guys.
habitats anyways, and you're trying to get away from that with the bearded dragon. So the cocoa fiber and stuff like that, I really don't think is beneficial. Think if you're just staying with something solid, is the way to go.
Yeah, I like simple. I like easy to clean. Like I said, if you have one dragon, then cool, go for it. Whatever you want to do, experiment. But yeah, anybody that has more than 4 dragons, 5 dragons, yeah. I mean, for you to do 5 bioactives or 5, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of money that goes into it if you do it right too. So yeah, I
Yeah,
recommend
bioactive super expensive. I was like looking
if you do it
into it.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because you got to get those, you get the clay little balls,
yeah.
get that layer, then you
The
have
screen.
like a screen mesh over it, then
Yeah,
sometimes sand, and then dirt, and then you do leaf. Just a bag of leaves was like $10. I was like, bro, I'll go get some leaves out the backyard. I'm gonna
yeah, yeah.
start selling leaves right
And
now.
then
It was crazy.
people don't understand either. Is isopods and springtails. I've
Even
never
more
been into.
expensive.
I've never been into it. To get like 20 isopods is like $20. I'm like, Jesus. And like,
Oh,
oh,
bro, bro,
because they're
that's
cow
cheap.
ears. I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
That's cheap. So that's probably like some
no, I'm
powdered
just
blues. If you
yeah, yeah.
wanted to
That's what
get
I have
some of the
though.
rubber duckies, it's
Oh
probably
yeah,
like $50 for 5 of them.
yeah. It's ridiculous.
I'm super into isopods. I'm gonna have a whole shelf of them as soon as I do this remodel and I get all my bearded dragon set up. You're gonna see some crazy isopods coming from us.
These were given to me, and I was like, okay, sure, yeah, whatever. And then I realized that there was like money. These are just blue and orange, powdered blue. I don't know anything about isopods, but um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So those look like powder blues.
And then I have oranges, some
Oh, the
orange.
oranges are dope.
Yeah, and these have been just sitting here. I don't know what to do with them. And I try to sell them, but I'm like, I don't know. There's a million in here, so I don't know what they're even worth. But and then they're like, oh, feed it to your babies, and I'm like, the last thing I need is for half of my dragons to die eating one of these things. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. I'm sure they won't, but
Yeah, no, I wouldn't feed the isopods off.
yeah.
That's an expense. That's like caviar right there. Just keep
Sure.
growing them out, man. Once that colony gets huge and you're
Oh,
producing
dude,
a
this is
ton,
huge.
and you got a bunch of adults, that's when you want to start selling them. You want to start selling like 20, 30 adults in small containers.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
And
and
like,
that was given to me. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I realized that people will actually spend money on this. I'm like, wow, okay, I guess I'll just hold them.
dude, so that's kind of like my Halloween hissing roaches.
I would
I've
love to have those, but
I've
they
literally never seen them anywhere else. Like I've looked them up on not Morph Market, but like insect websites, other feeder websites. I've never seen anyone with Halloween hissers. Like I could find a lot of information on them, but I can't buy them anywhere. And
yeah,
some guy out here just locally was selling his colony and was like, "Hey man, you wanna buy this?" And I was like, "Yeah, heck yeah, I do," because my
yeah,
Savannah monitor loves them.
yeah.
So, yeah, I ended up buying them, and now I have the hybrids, the Madagascar Island Roachers, and the
Nice.
Halloween Hissings are like making some hybrids. It's really crazy.
No, for sure. And I also have a off topic. If anybody wants adult discoids, males, I had somebody, I'm not gonna mention any names, kind of going through it. Wanted to buy them, and I packaged them up. They're ready to go. DM me if you're interested. There's about 100 adult males in there, so maybe you're interested. I don't know. I just saw them sitting there. I'm like, they're still packaged up in a bag, ready to go, and they're just sitting there.
Dude, so actually coolest thing, a local person put on Facebook Marketplace that they had some adult male dubia that they wanted to get rid of, and I was like, score. So I go over there, I got about 30, 40 of these males, like right before Christmas. I think it was like
Yeah,
Christmas Eve. Um, so all my bearded dragons got like two adult male dubias for Christmas dinner. Man, smashed them. I took some videos of them
oh, bet.
with my new camera and my mic. You can just hear the crunch. Oh, it's gonna be sick. I'm gonna drop it with one of my new YouTube videos that comes out. It's gonna be sick.
Look what I just stumbled upon.
Oh, you got some hatchlings?
Yeah,
Nice.
Jesus, bro, you have no idea how many babies I have right now. I thought I had another couple days from them to hatch, but yeah, I guess they're hatching. What's today's date? The 28th?
Yeah.
20. Hold on. Yeah. No, they're right on cue. Anyways, sorry, off topic.
Oh, also bark. Don't I saw Cool Dragons said that the cocoa or the eco earth or the cocoa fibers is really dusty. So is bark. Don't use bark for your bearded dragons. That stuff is really dusty when it's dry, and that those particles and stuff can get in your bearded dragon's respiratory, and you get an infection again that way. Um, that kind of stuff is more for your monitors and stuff that you want to have that moist atmosphere.
No, yeah, for sure. But I like I said, I do driftwood. Driftwood is cool, but
Yeah,
I
that's,
wouldn't.
I mean, that's like having a rock in there though. That's a perch. That's totally cool.
Yeah, I love driftwood. It's a little expensive, but yeah, I love driftwood. Easy to clean, looks good. Dude, there's places to hide. So if you guys are looking to have more of a realistic, I recommend driftwood. I think it's called spiderwood, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice. So most of the time, the wood that's readily available out here, we have the grapevines and then manzanita, which is pretty
I'm not.
cool because
I,
it's the
I'm
red ones.
I'm honestly not sure what. I have different pieces that I get from, and they're all different. So I don't know if one's spider, one's whatever. I know one of them I have is spider. I just don't know which one.
The problem is that stuff's so expensive when you try to buy it from like a pet store. So
Yeah, I
I
spend
always go to
15 to
the
20 bucks each.
damn. Yeah, so what's cool, bro, is I travel to like Sonoma and all these cool ass like winery places, and when they're cutting
Yeah,
down like the old grape fields, I'll literally just pull over my delivery van and run out in
just
the field real quick and grab like 5 or 6 of these whole grape
cut
bush
them down.
things, and then yeah, I'll bring them home, cut them all down to
Oh yeah.
size. It's perfect. Uh, um, Someone also asked how often do I do the bee pollen?
Bee
Bee
pollen? Oh,
pollen
man.
is really good for your bearded dragon's immune system, so it helps
The
them stay
probiotics.
healthy. Yeah, and it has amino acids in it too, so it's almost like a meal in itself.
Yeah.
So it's super beneficial for your bearded dragons, but I only give it to my bearded dragons once, maybe twice a week. It's not something you want to overdo either. Um, I dust them on my dubia or my roaches, worms, whatever it is, and then just like calcium, I just dust them and throw them in there before I feed them.
Yep.
But small enclosures too. So if your bearded dragon can't turn from side to side and its head and tail touches both sides, if it's touching both sides without curving, you're good. But if it can't do that and its tail is like bending from side to side, you need to get something a little bit wider or a little bit longer. Um, you never want your bearded dragon to like be turning around and constantly touching the sides of its cage. That will stress it out. You don't want it in something small like that. Um, I don't recommend anything under 3 feet. Like I said, we use 3 by 18 by 18s, but that's really the smallest I would recommend going. I'm in a garage, so I'm trying to use as much space as I can.
For sure.
So what babies just hatched? What is that the same clutch?
The same mom. So I have 3 clutches from the same mom and one clutch that's a separate clutch. But most of my babies are from the same mom. She's from the color stripe girl. She's produced, bro. I had 60 something eggs because I sold a bunch, and I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
And you said
12,
she's
13, 14,
producing G
15,
stripes, right?
16. No. So the other clutch that I have G stripes, but this clutch, these are just really nice hypo babies, citrus babies that have really nice blue bars. But nothing, They're really nice, but nothing crazy for like genetic wise. They're just really nice for like breeding for like color. I think for somebody that wants to breed nice citrus blue bar babies, these are definitely babies for you. They're just hypo. They have a very 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 low percentage for being het, like a 25% chance for being het, because both parents or one of the parents didn't prove out. But yeah, very. I mean, these guys are
Het
just
for trans.
het for trans. Yeah, I think there's like a 25% chance. These guys are just came out of the egg, and you can see all their bars.
Nice.
So, and these are the same. This is the same. Same. Hold on. Get over here. Hold on. These little psychos. The same parents as this little girl. You can see her bars are really nice. She's kind of getting washed out, but same parents.
Nice. They're looking good.
Yeah, I just have so many of them. It's ridiculous. People don't understand. Like, it gets overwhelming sometimes. Like, when you already have a bunch of babies and then you look up and you're just like, oh, here's 25 more. Like, you're like, Jesus.
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
I
I'm
definitely
so
appreciate
glad
it,
I
though,
have an
and I love
outlet
it,
for it.
but, you know, that's just 20 something more mouths to feed. You know what I mean? People, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely, and especially, I mean, right now I'm not even trying to breed, so those clutches for you are got to be insane because this is my downtime. I'm not gonna start breeding until another month, but maybe 2 months, but then that'll probably be my biggest year. 2021 will probably be my biggest breeding year. I'll have the most females ready to go.
Yeah.
So it might last all year. That's something that it would be a little bit scary if I had clutches all year long just hatching.
Yeah, I might take a break for breeding season, maybe breed again towards the end. Um, but yeah, man, I'm gonna have babies probably all through season because, like I said, that's 20. I don't know, 21 more or 19 more or something like that. Plus, I have the other 60 something. So I mean, it's
And
it's going.
and then talking about supplements isn't really a supplement, but a lot of people ask what I use to clean. This is what I use to clean my cages.
Yeah, I have a little same thing. It's in a Windex bottle. It's just diluted down.
So this stuff's great, man. It literally kills everything.
Yeah, and it's cheap. You can get a gallon jug on Amazon for
Like $20.
I don't know. It's been like a year since I bought one, but yeah, I think it's like 20 or $30. But it lasts you. Like I said, I haven't bought
Forever.
it
You
yet,
have to
and I
dilute
still
that
have
shit.
half. I still have half the gallon left.
Uh yeah, so I use that a lot. I'm gonna grab one of my females real quick, show you. Cause I only kept maybe like 4 dragons. No. I got 7 dragons that I kept back this year. I'm gonna show you 2 of them.
Are you only breed one? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's definitely a lot, man.
So yeah, this was out of my last clutch that I had this year. And this little dragon right here is probably like, I don't know, 20, 30 grams, but eats so much, probably eats 400 dubia
A week.
in a week. Yeah, and that's so much money, you guys, so much money. Once they start growing bigger and bigger and bigger, then it gets so expensive. So definitely trying to get rid of them at a younger age is the best way to go.
Yeah. And people. I was with a really nice couple that bought a baby from me this weekend or this past yesterday or the other day. I'm losing track of time. And they were asking like, oh, they just were asking a lot of questions. I honestly do this for like just my pure passion because if I was in it for the money, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, there is money in it, but a lot of the money that I make goes right back into them.
Yeah, so I mean, uh,
And I've said that
that
on every live I think we've done.
yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing that I do this for is to I breed the dragons just so I can learn more about genetics and stuff. I love this whole thing. It's not about money at all. It's the satisfaction I get about completing a project at the end of the day. So when I can start and make my own het trans, and then at the end of the day produce hypo trans that I bred 2 years ago and produced originally. When you can do something like that and prove out genetics that you originally made the hets for, and this project that you've been working on 3-4 years sometimes is that's so rewarding. That's the best part.
Yeah, like a science. It's like a science experiment.
Because a lot of people, like, you could line breed, which is super easy. You just have to look for a bunch of red dragons. So if you want redder dragons, you just look for dragons that are more red, and then you line breed them. A red dragon to a red dragon is going to produce more red dragons. But when you're actually dealing with real genetics like tiger, um, translucents, hypomelanistic, whiplets, zeros, that type of stuff that are recessive, that you need two parents carrying the recessive gene to produce, and then you start producing triple recessive dragons. That's crazy. To me, that is so rewarding to tell someone that, yeah, I produced this dragon that is a triple recessive visual.
They're like a wada wada.
Yeah, most people are like, what? Yeah, it looks super cool, bro. But,
Give you $50
um,
for it.
yeah. So that's what makes it all worth it for me at the end of the day, is that I got all these badass dragons, and then when people come over, I have a lot of friends that come over, and they think it's like Jurassic Park over here. I'm the lizard man to all my friends.
Literally.
Most of my friends are, or most of the people on Instagram that I talk to, they're that guy for most of their friends as well.
Yep.
So when my friends come over here, they trip out.
Yep. My family too. Same thing. Friends, family. They're like, you're gonna need some bigger space. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need a different house for my animals.
Mike, you wanna donate to my GoFundMe? I got OnlyFans.
Only fans, but it's only dragons.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of picture of my reptiles, but you can still pay for it to support me. You know what I mean?
It's a bunch of videos of me cleaning.
With clothes on though.
Yeah, just sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, this one is definitely one that I kept back this year for. She's a hypo het trans, but she's got tiger, and then super nice bars in her. So that's why I kept her. That's something that you line breed though. Like, blue bars aren't a trait. It's more or less than something you line breed, like citrus and orange and reds. So
Yeah.
line breeding is when you're just something that naturally occurs, and you just keep rebreeding it so that it happens more often.
And it also happens with more intensity too. Like, so which is weird. The father of, if I can get this one, this is a great example. Mom to these citrus, the citrus, the hypos that I was telling you guys about, showing you guys the hatch just now. This is the second clutch. Mom does have bars. They're not like, oh my god, super crazy. But look at one of her babies, and the father did not have bars.
Yeah.
So perfect example that mom had bars, some nice bars, and that didn't have any. And look what she produced. Super really nice blue. It's gonna have really nice blue bars, leather back. So just an example.
Yeah, so I don't think that's an actual trait that's ever been proven out, but it is something you can breed for. You can line breed for bars. You can definitely breed a dragon with bars to another dragon with bars to produce extreme bars.
More bars, yeah. Like I said, that clutch, dad didn't have any. Mom has some.
Yeah, so bars, I don't know if you guys know this, but that's like blue bars are like my favorite.
This is mom. She was sleeping, but yeah, she has decent bars. Nothing crazy, obviously, but big girl.
Yeah, I bet you that baby comes out to be like her, just like more down the back.
Yeah, more saturated with bars. Yeah, for sure. Which that's what you want to do for line breeding. You always want to be better than than the parents. So if I breed her back to another dragon with bars, those dragons are going to be crazy. Kind of how like Kids and Dragons does with his bars, very similar to those. Like you just see them like, wow, it was really nice. Same
Yeah,
thing.
so I don't know if you can see her bars really. Let me see.
The camera's kind of washing her out.
Let me see if
How's
I
it
can
going,
do
guys?
this.
About 10 minutes, we'll start answering questions.
You
Yeah, you
can
can see
bear.
him. Yeah, you can see
Okay.
him.
So her mom literally has like one bar. But
One.
the dad has like some decent markings, but in the babies, they really started to come out.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll show you this other one real quick.
But yeah, bars are pretty cool, especially with as they get more, as they get bluer and bluer and bluer. Some dragons bars kind of very cool, so it's just kind of hit or miss.
Man, she's about to shed too. She looks super dull. But she's got the color stripes down the back. Damn, it's terrible. Anyways, so that is something that I think is genetic, the dark color stripes down the back. Some people say it's not, some people say it is. I think that is a recessive trait that you can breed. It's not like blue bars. It's more like a genetic stripe to me. With the phantom dragons calls theirs the phantom stripe, but
You mean a visual stripe? Because
yeah,
because a genetic stripe, which it drives me crazy. People are like, oh, look at my genetic stripe, and I'm just like, that's a visual stripe, or that's a
yeah,
color stripe.
yeah. A lot of
It's
people don't know
different.
genetic stripe. You don't even see it.
What do you mean?
Like my male that has a genetic stripe, he was born with like genetic stripe right down his back, right? But now it's completely gone. You don't see anything.
Oh, really? My female, the one that to my G-stripe clutch, you can still see hers. There, it's not like when I first got her. Like you're saying, it kind of goes away. But let me see. Like, yeah, I can get what you're saying. It kind of fades, but you can
Yeah,
see that
see,
it's straight.
yours is even more visual than mine. Let me show you my male.
And that's I absolutely love genetic stripe. But genetic stripe is genetic. Only one parent needs to be displaying it to pass it on, and you can't be het genetic stripe. You either have it or you don't. It's like Dunner. You can't be het Dunner. You're either a Dunner or you're not. Oh yeah, it's completely gone. Jesus. Yeah, it's completely gone. I can show you what she looked like as a baby. This is her little twin. So as babies,
See, like you can see it, but yeah, see, it's so much more visual on the babies than
on
when
the
they grow
babies.
up.
Yeah. So when I bought her, she was like very similar to this. Sorry, I have a glider in here making all the noise. I'm getting him socialized. Show you guys real quick. So little guest. Come here.
Sounds like you got a little chihuahua in there.
Yeah, he's a little angry guy sometimes because I woke him up. But yeah, that's him. Little ringtail mosaic. Beautiful tail on him. But yeah, he just kind of sits. He's been sitting here the whole video. He just kind of hangs out till you wake him up. But yeah, genetic stripe is my favorite out of all the other morphs or color phases or whatever you want to call it. But it drives me crazy when I see people post, oh, genetic stripe for sale, and it's like, that is a color stripe or a visual stripe? Three different things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the crazy thing is a lot of people think like genetics are so simple with bearded dragons, but like even tiger, that's a trait. Like not all dragons
Yeah.
carry tiger.
Right.
And Dunner, normal scale, leatherback. Then you have the silkies, micro scale. Like there's so much
American
into it.
leatherbacks.
You can get lost in bearded dragon genetics. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not as crazy as ball pythons, but you definitely can get lost in it. There's so
Yeah.
many genetics.
But
And
it's like anything though. Like the more you look into it, the more you're like, wow, there's a lot that goes into this.
Yeah, it just fascinates me the more I learn about it. And each time we do one of these podcasts, it's I learn more because
For
people
sure.
the more questions I get, um,
For more research.
like yeah, I have to research a lot of it because like the bioactive thing, I don't do bioactive, so I had no idea. That's something that I had to do a lot of research into, and a lot of other people just don't do research like I do. I'm a very competitive person, so
Going on.
one outlet isn't good enough for me. You know, I'm gonna hit 20 different um, sources to get my information, and then from those 20, I'm gonna put together what I think
Yeah.
is the best, because
For sure.
which source said this the most times, you know, like if you have 20 different sources saying one thing but everything else is different, that one thing is probably the only thing I'm gonna believe out of everything.
Yeah. Like if you see a pattern, like, hey, you need green leaves or whatever, and you consistently see people say that, even if it's from 3 or 4 different forms, and you see a kind of a pattern, like, okay, that might be, legit, or that might be something to look into more. But and I only know about bioactives because I have a Savannah monitor. He was on bioactive when he was outside. Um, and then I had a chameleon that I was trying to do like a little bioactive thing, but I'm done with chameleons, man. Chameleons are
They're super hard. They're
I
time
think you're doing
consuming.
you think you're doing good, and then you wake up one morning and it's dead. You're like, what? But they just stress out really easy.
Yeah, chameleons are super hard. I think if you're gonna do a chameleon, panther chameleons are probably the best way to go. Don't get anything like
And
super exotic.
yeah,
Veiled chameleons are like all right, but they tend to stress out and die really fast.
I've had 3 of them and done everything to the T, and you blow on them and they're like,
Yeah, I actually have one veiled chameleon that I've had for like 5 or 6 years,
oh wow, that's
and
nice.
when I first got him, I super messed up and I wasn't doing anything right. He ended up getting MBD. I had to syringe feed him and give him
Wow.
calcium by a syringe daily for like 60 days. Now he looks all bull-legged. He walks around kind of like he's
Yeah,
buff, but that was a learning experience for me. It's unfortunate, you know. I wouldn't hide that from you guys. It's not something that, you know, I'm not
part of
proud of it, but I am proud of it because I learned. And going through that experience, I learned a lot, and not just about chameleons, but I learned a lot about all reptiles, really. So, uh, yeah, chameleons super hard to take care of, but my guy Yoda over there, he's doing good.
Yoda. That's a dope name.
All right, so
Getting
I'm
a couple
gonna
questions, yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go back to the top right now, see what we got going on. Um, got a lot of people checking in. Thank you guys so much for the support.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
I just switched to Repashy Calcium Plus. That's good. How often do you use bee pollen? I think we went over that.
No,
Even
but
if
I don't think you gave a certain date. You just said you use it. Like, I don't think you
um
said.
so yeah, I use bee pollen twice a week. I use it Monday and I use it Thursday. That it goes in with my when I use the protein. So whatever protein I'm gonna be feeding that day, it could be the Beardy Buffet bars, it could be dubia, it could be super worms, it could be some hissing roaches, depending on what I have available. But for the most part, I just dust them in the bee pollen. Uh, I try not to feed it with the greens, unless I have a picky eater. If I have a picky eater, then I'll switch it up and I'll put it on the greens because
Yeah,
they do like bee pollen. It's really good. Like I said, it has the amino acids in it, so it is like a
and it
small
has a
meal
smell
for
to
them.
it.
Yeah.
Also, cilantro, a little trick too, little hack.
Yeah, cilantro works great too because they like that smell. Anything that has a strong smell to it, I've noticed they really start to hit on it. Like if you have a fruit that smells really good, like you have strawberries in around that are really ripe, they'll hit the greens if you kind of chop them up really fine, mix them in there. As long as you have something that smells really good.
What else we got here? Even a small water dish. Yeah, you can use a water dish, a small one if you'd like. Definitely don't put it near the basking spot. But yeah, I mean, it's all preference. I don't use any water bowls. I just bathe on a weekly basis, on a daily basis for babies, and then a weekly basis for adults. We didn't really touch too hard on hydration on dragons, but hornworms are great. Misting your greens down is another good deal, another thing, and then giving your adults a bath at least once a week is also a good practice.
Definitely. And if you have a dragon that's shedding, I recommend, 5-10 extra minutes in the bath when you're soaking them, help them get that shed off. But you definitely want to soak once a week, 15 minutes. If you guys follow me, you know that's my religious practice. Once a week, 15 minutes. Babies, it's twice a week, but I do miss their cage twice a day. So in the mornings when they wake up, and then at night before they're going to bed, I give them a light misting, make sure everyone's licking it up. So definitely, water dishes are just something I don't recommend if you have an enclosed enclosure. So if it's sealed, I guess enclosed is a bad word. If it's a sealed enclosure with not great ventilation, don't do water dishes, even a small one.
Yeah. I think.
But you actually said something good. Hornworms is a great way to get hydration in your dragons too. So if you're feeding stuff that's high in what is the word I'm looking for? Moisture. Moisture content is high in the bugs that you're feeding. So waxworms, hornworms,
Roaches.
Yeah, roaches can be good, but they got kind of a thick exoskeleton. Just make sure you're gut loading everything. But the highest moisture content is really going to come from your waxworms and your hornworms. Waxworms have a higher fat content. Waxworms have a higher fat content than hornworms, but hornworms are a little more expensive. But as long as you're giving them lots of them, you don't want to give lots of them because you don't want them to get spoiled on that. So as long as you're supplementing them every once in a while with these types of insects and varying their diet, you should be good.
And they'll get the runs if you feed too much superworms or too big of, hornworms. You'll get watery like diarrhea poop, and that's how you know they're overhydrated. So I recommend giving for adults one nice or maybe two nice size ones, and then that's it for the day.
Yeah, actually, so the watery poop. So if your dragon is impacted and you haven't seen poops in a couple of days, a little secret: a hornworm, dip it in castor oil and get it to eat the hornworm with castor oil. I guarantee you, within an hour or two, soak it in a warm bath. In about 30 minutes to an hour, that dragon's gonna be pooping out everything. It has worked for me. One time, I had an impacted dragon. I'm not even sure what it was from. I had just bought the dragon. It hadn't pooped for a while. I noticed it was getting really bloated. A local friend who breeds bearded dragons out here was like, "Hey man, try this." I tried it. Worked great. So hornworm dipped in castor oil works great. Just lubes it all up right out the back.
Okay, what else we got here?
I saw someone. Hold on 1 second. With the chlorhexidine, I seen someone ask if it had to sit or if you just spray it on. I do let it sit. I don't know if it has to, but I let everything sit because I spray all my cages down and then I go back and I wipe everything clean. So I do let it sit. I don't know if you have to though.
And then somebody else said, "Do you own any ball pythons?" I do not. I don't own any snakes. I just own lizards.
Yeah,
I own dragons, a Savannah monitor, and 2 blue tongue skins.
So if you guys want to know what my whole collection is, I'll go through it real quick. I got a veiled chameleon, a red Ackie monitor, a Savannah monitor, black and white Argentine tegus. I have mangrove monitors or Varanus indicus. I have Hermann's tortoises. I have red-eared sliders. I have Mexican spiny-tailed iguana. I have a Nile monitor. Ducks. I have a Peking duck and a Chinese duck, and then I have a hybrid between them. I have my peacock bass, my 2 red belly paku, and then dogs and cats.
No
And then
pig?
I have a breeding pair of Euromastics.
You don't have the pig anymore?
Yeah, I definitely. Oh yeah, I still have my pig.
Oh yeah, so you forgot about your pig.
Oh yeah, she's a pain in the butt. I still got her.
Somebody
Oh,
else.
actually, I forgot too. I got two frogs. I have a Pac-Man frog and an African bullfrog, and then I breed rats. So when I tell
Those
you
are dope.
guys that I have a lot going on and I can't put substrate in my cage, please understand that I have a lot going on and I can't put substrate on my cages.
Yeah, and so after all the lizards, we also breed French bulldogs. That's if anybody knows about that is a nightmare. And we also have five different pairings of sugar gliders. So yeah, they're both busy, kind of different busies. But yeah, when you have more animals and you just have, yeah, it's a lot of work. So you get off of your regular job to clock into your other job, which I kind of enjoy cleaning poop. And it sounds weird, but like I just kind of
Yeah,
play
like
music.
Brian Barczyk says, you gotta love cleaning poop before you get to, because I mean, 10% of the time you're handling the actual animal. The other
Yeah,
90% you're cleaning up
you're
after it.
cleaning and feeding. Yeah, feeders. Somebody said feeders. I don't know if you're coids, but they're so expensive and I can't get my colony going up faster. Black soldier fly larvae, rapashi, and lesser mealworms. That's probably
Yeah, so
my main my
for adults, I'm just using hissing roaches, dubia, and superworms. And then I do the beauty buffet and the grub pie and make that into bars for them on top of greens. But for the babies,
baby
I do
little baby.
small mealworms. I do the black soldier fly larvae and then dubia for the most part. I do throw greens in there too, but
These are mealworms slash lesser mealworms slash whatever other bugs we got going on in here. But yeah, those are our main. That's my main thing. That's his main thing. Okay, what else we got going on here before this
next
time?
week's topic: blue bars versus tiger stripe. Why does it have to be versus? Because I mean, you get a lot of that together. But I mean, I get what you mean. What do you like more? Tiger stripes. Do you like blue bars? I
That's
personally like tiger stripe only when it's with dunner or when it's super clean. When you see the super clean lines, that's my favorite. But when it's kind of like messed up and
yeah.
not messed up enough to where it's not a dunner, um, not really into tiger. And I mean, there's so much tiger in everything that it's more. I think it's harder to get away from tiger than it is to get something that is tiger.
I have a tiger little girl that I'm growing up from Kids and Dragons. You can kind of see her tiger, a little hypotrans girl. She's pretty, but you can kind of see it. I like tiger, but I like Gen X stripe more.
Yeah, I think blue bars on reds are
For
my
sure,
favorite. That's my favorite pop.
for
Is
sure.
the blue bars. But I do have a female that is blue bars, red, and she's got the tiger stripes, and that's pretty insane too. She does look dope. But I really like the dunner stuff with the tiger because it, like, I don't know, it just messes everything up, and it makes it like the white. You'll get like a single white scale. That's the coolest thing to me. It almost looks like someone like hand painted
Yeah,
the dunners.
yeah, for sure. So I'm trying to think before this thing ends. Next week we'll post about it. If anybody has any questions, you can DM him or myself that we didn't answer today. We can answer it privately. So just let us know. We appreciate you guys for watching.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys all for the support. And if you guys didn't get to see the whole live, we will be posting it on Redzone Reptiles YouTube channel. You can go back and check that out. Also, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when the videos are being posted.
Yep.
And again, thank you guys for another Monday Night Live.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.